here with us as well. Well, they will summarize and set the framework. Like always, the president of TTYD, Madam Oya Narin, is kindly invited to the stage. She will talk to another important figure that you know well, Özlem Doğaner, Sabah, columnist, editor-in-chief. She will join us on stage. She is my colleague. Özlem Hanım and Oya Hanım are kindly invited to the stage to start off the day. Welcome. Welcome, Oya Hanım. You have the floor. Welcome. Good that you are here and that you've joined us. We have gathered at the Tourism Investment Forum, and we're happy to be with you today. Of course, it's important to explain what we're doing and announce the developments, the progress of our industry. And each year with Oya Hanım, on day 2 of the forum, we are debriefing about the previous day. So it is more dynamic compared to the previous year. We have more the higher number of participants, and this is the 5th forum, right? Yes, we have made progress each year with our forum. We have more participants now. We have a high level of interest, national, international interest, and so people told us that it is a productive gathering, and this makes us happy because we have a huge industry and an investment environment, and atmosphere is critical. So there are trade shows and exhibits that are focusing on commercial activities. They are short-term, but we discussed the long-term planning during the forum today, and international guests arrive every year. They come and deliver their speeches. We listen to them, and I hope it is a good, excellent meeting for each and every one of you. Do you agree? Thank you. Oya Hanım, which themes have been discussed today, especially have been discussed yesterday? I mean, you were present and followed up on the discussions. Well, can we summarize yesterday to set the frame? Yes, as the minister said, well, we are an indispensable player. We are top 4, and we are part of the Champions League in tourism. So, and the international guest Gloria from WTTC, she said that we are watching you closely with great interest. And the entire world is watching you. You may not be aware of you, but you are doing excellent work in tourism. Well, people know sometimes, well, you know what you're doing, but when someone else is acknowledging your efforts, that's something else. So we have, well, hearing that from a professional, a senior person from tourism, well, she is the previous the former tourism minister at the same time. So hearing that was of great help. And we discussed the banking system becoming a brand. That is very important, that banking system attaches importance to brands, and they would support brands domestically and internationally. That was important to hear because as investors, we have to be aligned with the finance sector. Their support opens new worlds to us. So they talked about the existing loan capacity, and they talked about future loans. Close to $3 billion loan facilities, credit facilities were mentioned for tourism, and tourism operators and brands need to be supported internationally as well. That's what they said yesterday. We can elaborate if you wish later on, but of course, the gist of the matter is that my conclusion from all of this is that tourism, 1.5 billion people are moving, and another 1.5 million are receiving them. So a total of 3 billion people are interacting with one another. So when you go to a hotel, you meet someone. When you go to the street, you meet someone. So it's a huge transaction volume in tourism. So 1.5 billion people moving. touches another 3-4 billion people. So it's all about people communicating and having good relations, cultural exchange, understanding, eye contact, feeling the warmth, understanding the culture, and perceiving differences and similarities, and experiencing all these values and attaching importance to people. This was mentioned yesterday. It's not about mathematics and growth, and it's about human interaction. Let's preserve our DNA, tourism DNA. These were the points mentioned yesterday. Okay, let's go one by one. So. There are striking headlines. So we talked about 68 million targeted tourists, so close to the Turkish population. That's the amount we receive in Turkey as tourists. So that's very important. But as you said, the services we deliver are more important. So we are in the Champions League, as the minister said. So in football, being in the Champions League is important. So, but you have to stay there or become. To what extent you want to become champion, or if you can become a champion, is important. So staying in the Premier League and even going for the championship. How can we go about this? Given our current investments, are we ready for that? Of course, we have always been ready because we have a good bed capacity, we have an excellent, great country, and there has been a 100% increase in the last decade. So our performance shows that we are ready for it. Our destinations are compatible with all of this. The tourism movement, tourism economy has made progress. There is a specific understanding about tourism in the country, and nothing is missing. What can we do better? Of course, we need to extend the seasons in the southern parts, especially 365 days tourism. That's very important. In Antalya, for example, there's some coasts that are further away from the city, and some parts of the Aegean region. They make money only from tourism. So if they can do it for 365 days, it will help. I mean, by restructuring these areas, will increase the use capacity and increase the revenue, and an ecosystem will be set up. And of course, with that ecosystem, a new texture will be created in these regions. So we need to focus on these work on these efforts. What we need to do better is become a brand. Branding. We have 200,000 beds are brands. We have 2 million beds. So it's only 10% of brands or branding. So we have to Turkish and international brands need to pick up pace, becoming brands actually. If you can visit the stands, booths outside, you will see domestic and international brands. They're all represented here, and we need them to grow, of course. With the brand, the prices will improve, the standards will go up, and the value of the property increases. So this opens new horizons. And of course, we need to become international brands as Turkish brands. I mean, we have international brands represented here in Turkey, but we need to also become an international brand as a Turkish brand. So not only investing in other countries. I mean, Turkish investors, they first invest in their own country, in Turkey. That's what they prefer. That's what everyone goes for. But getting an operation license and buying facilities abroad, but under the Turkish flag, becoming a Turkish brand abroad, that's important. Turkish Airlines, wherever they fly, there should be Turkish brands there waiting for people there, and there are close to 350 destinations of Turkish Airlines. This is a huge opportunity for us, so that's why the hotels, our brands, with the support of the Ministry of Trade, I mean, the exporters are supported to set up shop abroad, and they're giving rental loans, etc. But with Turkish Airlines, we can do the same. We can go abroad. We can we will see Turkish brands everywhere if we make progress on that. Of course, we would like to see the Turkish flag everywhere. Mr. Aral, the general manager of İş Bankası, he talked about how they can support Turkish brands in Turkey and abroad. They can do both. So financial support for brands is very important. It was an important motivational speech. What do you think? Yes. I mean, we have seen the banking strategy for the tourism sector, and it's one of the leading banks. And taking the step to support the Turkish tourism industry is important. Capital support, international capital support, or cap support with abroad is very important. The important opportunities that we can seize, especially in Europe and nearby, where there's an established Turkish population, their human capital will be an important strength for us. Well, I don't know if there are questions from if the person is in the room, but we have had international guests yesterday, and they provided different perspectives to tourism, and we understood how they perceived Turkey. That was important. So WTCC President Gloria Monza was with us. She talked about how important the Turkish model has been. International spending, where international spending is higher than domestic spending, she said, for Turkey. Digital identity, which is smooth digital identity, was important. After the COVID pandemic, the new generation regards travel as a right, but they don't want to work in the tourism industry. So you're making these important investments in human capital. And if you regard the matter from the previously mentioned point of view, you see that investing in human capital gains importance. What do you think about human capital? Thank you. I listened to Madam Gloria's speech, and she touched upon important subjects on domestic tourism and international tourism and the ratio thereof. Of course, we have international guests in Turkey, but the reason is that their tourists or relatives visit their domestic relatives, so there's a certain balance which we do not deviate from. But when there's a crisis, we're being supported by domestic tourists. I mean, and it is not as high as the ratio of international tourists, but after the pandemic, domestic tourism was very supportive. People visit their relatives, of course, that's part of it. Maybe they're not going to the hotels, but they're staying at their relative's house. But in terms of, I think very, very important when it comes to arriving international tourists from Russia, Ukraine, Germany. So before the war, it was better even. But there are many tourists from the Turkic republics, from the Arabian Peninsula. So we have guests from China as well right now. And with China, I mean, there are visa facilitations, of course, more flights operating from here. So we'll have more tourists from Asia, or they will use Turkey as a transit hub. But young people's interest in tourism has gone down. Well, why? I mean, of course, the young generation wants to travel all the time, and they see life as an experience, unlike our generation. I mean, they want to experience things. That's why they want to do it through travel sometimes. I don't know why they're not interested. Maybe we need to study that, and I need to talk to Gloria about it. Maybe she has something on it, but we cannot attract young people in the tourism industry. People who are educated or trained in tourism studies, they kind of do something else at the end. So maybe they don't think tourism is sustainable, and so employers need to focus on that and do something about it. And the government maybe can support us off-season in order for us not to lose the attractiveness. If you don't work, what happens? You have 35-40% of expenditures, and if you don't work, what will you do? I mean, you have to become smaller, and as a result of this shrinking, you're losing staff, and in time they go to work in other industries. They're looking for stable jobs, of course. As Gloria mentioned, digital, quick entry into digital is very important, not having to wait at the borders, visa facilitations, etc. These issues need to be handled very soon. When a travel takes 1 week, you spend 1 day going there and 1 day getting back, so the flow should be managed better. And well, smooth experience and digital identities, she mentioned all of these aspects, but she underlined that that they were watching us, which made us happy. Hopefully we'll have more opportunities to collaborate with WTTC and benefit from their statistics and their vision and their points of view and their input. Yes, we gave many statistics and figures. In terms of revenue, number of tourists, overnight stay, etc. We talk about all these figures, but beyond those figures, experience has come to the fore, and this is the picture of tourism today globally. So experience-driven. And the story of Turkey in this picture, or the players of Turkey in this picture, where is it? I mean, the big story. How can we attract more people? How can we go about the story of Turkey going forward? Actually, we have all-inclusive. Everything is all-inclusive in this country, thank God, right? So we have everything, thank God, once again. So climate, nature, people, history, everything. We have everything, mythology, excitement, the sea, the sun. You will find everything here. And smiling people, bright people. We have a concept called guest of God. So God sends us guests and we receive them. And the trouble, sometimes there's trouble, but the trouble is our guests, and we'll deal with it. This is the magic of Turkish tourism. We have everything, and we have the nicest people. So what do we need in addition to all of these? We can be better technically at the border gates at Istanbul. Istanbul airport is great at that. The new airports are better equipped, and they're trying to do their best to improve in terms of digitalization, telecommunications. We have made tremendous improvements compared to other countries. The banking system, ATM system, everything has been put into place for tourists. As Hakan Bey said yesterday, they can use their own credit cards to shop, to withdraw money, to spend money easily, and many people, unlike in other places. So we have made progress in all of these points. What can we do in addition? Well, for a better tourism, maybe we can improve our human resources or draw more human capital to the industry, extend the seasons. One of the speakers had said something, put it very nicely actually. Andrea Grisdal from Italy, I think she said that investment in human capital is real luxury. She said she didn't talk about the budget, but investing in people. And then there was something else. I think Mr. Kiki, roommate hotels. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I'm looking for it. Excuse me in my notes. He talked about the tourismophobia. So in big cities like Istanbul, there are problems of overcrowding in Barcelona. So we have to manage this the smart way. So destination management, tourism management is quite complicated. The municipalities, the governor's offices, and the private enterprises need to go ahead, work hand in hand, also with NGOs. So managing tourism together is very important. It's variable, it's quite dynamic, so we can do better in this, in the management of flows. But other than that, I think we are good.
Okay, in this year's forum, different than the previous forums, we talked a lot about AI and sustainability. We have specific sessions for them. Are these two things, AI and sustainability, going to be the main center of transformation for the future? To what extent will they be a part of tourism? Well, of course, sustainability is a way of life, but same thing for awareness. Certain things that you consider as sustainable are not sustained. There are many things. The net zero target should be there for all of us because it's an international target as well. Once you abide by all these rules, it will impact your sales because there is the math side of the spectrum. Once you abide by these rules, the companies have more opportunities for financing, green financing, etc. So all managers, hoteliers, and people in the tourism business need to think about these things, not only for the environment, but also for financial purposes as well. They need to understand the standards in the banking center, because if these things are done one-sidedly, they are not really done. When we say sustainability, we're not really talking about a huge environmental damage as an industrial facility. Maybe the CO2 emissions when you travel by crafts. That's the only thing. And the airline companies are working on this. They're very attentive to this matter. So in the hotel sector, accommodation sector, things we can do are just limited. We can just focus on waste, on energy maybe, and use of water, using less clean water. These are important. And in the construction period, buildings with new methods are to be constructed so that they will consume less water. We will lay the foundations without damaging the environment. And this is an integrated approach. So we need more detailed explanations. And you also talked about AI, right? I'm still trying to understand the AI, right? I think that's the case for everyone here, right? We're still in the phase of understanding what AI is. I'm not the only one, right? So when you look at our operational structure, we are there only if the guests are there. So we have an exchange, we have a communication with them. So we don't want to put any artificial intelligence in between us and the guests. The classic hoteliers think like that. But what we call as the back of the house activities or work, to facilitate those things, of course, we want to use AI. That's important. So, and our job is not rocket science, right? As you know, we have our warehouse systems, mathematical systems like accounting, simple procedures, right? The front desk, billing, these things are there. And of course, the agencies, tour operators, they mainly use the digital communication. So that's also developing for our guests, masses, different age groups. We are providing certain facilitation through AI, and it will further develop, and we are still watching it. I have a story, an anecdote. Actually, when I start something new, well, I started my career when I was young. We had those different type of calculators with paper when I was young. You're still young. We're talking about 5 years ago, right? No. Okay, we had this accounting manager. I hope he's still alive. So he would make the calculation and then he would also check against the paper part of the calculator. Can you imagine? He was checking the calculator. We still have these things. In accounting, they are still stuck with the old system. So people need to believe in AI first to shift into that because there is resistance against the use of AI in some sectors. I'm sure in the future we will use the AI more, but for the time being, I don't want, at least in our communication, to AI to come in between us and the guests. Okay, whenever I talk to you, I feel like traveling. So I use the AI. I will use the AI and ask the AI to tell me where to travel this weekend, a nice place in Turkey. Thank you so much. It was great to have this conversation with you. As journalists, we learn a lot here in this forum. We change our perspective for the future. All the speeches are very valuable. Thank you. And thank you to our guests for your attention. Hopefully, this will be a great and yet another productive day. Yes, thank you, Ms. Özlem. She's always kind enough to join us at this forum with her nice energy.
Biz de çok teşekkür ediyoruz bu keyifli sohbet için. Sağ olun efendim.
Thank you.
Fotoğraf çektirdik mi? Fotoğraf
Did we have a photo? Yes, let's have a photo. Let me remove this.
Şöyle arkaya doğru alalım. Evet. Şöyle ortaya doğru alayım sizi. Nasıl? Plaketimiz geliyor. Evet, Özlem Hanım'a çok teşekkür ediyoruz.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Özlem and Miss Oya, both for the questions and answers.